Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Minecraft video. A while back I got a request to build Rainbow Galleria from Super Mario Party Jamboree, so that is what we'll be building today. This is not meant to be a professional build as always, just purely for fun. However, I will be stopping the time lapse every few seconds, every few minutes or so, just to kind of comment on what I'm doing. That way it's easier to build if any of you at home want to replicate this. Like I said, this is not professional, but I will try to make it look as good as possible for anyone out there who would like to try and build this on their own. And yeah, with that said, let's get right into it. Alright, so to start off, you don't necessarily have to use the exact same materials I use because I'm using the Mario texture pack. And if I'm being honest, I found it didn't really work great for this build, so I think vanilla Minecraft probably makes more sense. So you can use whatever materials feel right to you. A good thing to keep in mind is that your final build should be about 41 blocks wide and 37 blocks long. So that is something to keep in mind. That is including the walls. So your floor should be 40 blocks wide and 36 blocks long. So yeah, that's a good place to start. You want to start making the path around the water fountain about 5 blocks away from the front entrance. And yeah, that's kind of the main stuff to remember off the bat. With the fountain, you will notice that I kind of redid it a bunch of times because I just couldn't find a formation I was happy with. Eventually, I kind of started digging it into the ground, and I made it 7 blocks wide and 9 blocks long, with a bridge going through the middle. You can do whatever you want with the fountain if you want to make it look nice. I kind of half-assed it, but that's alright, it's up to you. But overall, I didn't spend too much time on it just because I didn't want it to take up too much room. Next, I did the second floor. So as you know, the second floor kind of, as it does in a mall, is kind of more just wraps around the side of the wall. I had the elevators, even though there's stairs in Minecraft, I had the elevators 6 blocks to the left and right of the front entrance. My front entrance was only one door. Again, this is up to you. It's Minecraft. You have as much creative freedom as you want. If you want to make it bigger, by all means, go ahead. But for mine, I had it 6 blocks on both sides. Then I had the actual floor itself 4 blocks wide and 14 blocks long. And then they kind of meet up and conjoin, as you can kind of see. And then after that, you'll want to go back and switch to a 3 blocks wide formation and go back 9 blocks so that you can create the area where the next escalator is going to be, taking you up to the 3rd floor. Once you start making the 3rd floor, you're going to want to make it 5 blocks wide to start before switching back to 4 blocks wide when you're actually making the area you'll be walking on. If you'd like, you can include fences on both floors. I chose to because they look like railings, but you don't have to. The 3rd floor will begin to wrap around, conjoining with the other side. Once it kind of reaches that area where the 2nd floor wall would be, if that makes sense. It'll make more sense once you see it. And that's pretty much it for the 3rd floor for now. The elevator is a little bit squished in here. It's only 3 by 3, but I figured that made sense considering I don't know how to make an actual functioning elevator in Minecraft unless you're using water. But that didn't look good, so I used ladders. So you can make it as big as you want, but I just preferred to leave it smaller since I didn't want it taking up a lot of room when it didn't really need a lot of room. I figured it'd be boring to watch me build the walls, so I just cut that out, but each segment or each color is 5 blocks high, so that's all you need to worry about. For the roof, I kind of went with the dome effect, so every 3 blocks I would move up 1 block, if that makes sense. You can kind of see what I'm doing here. Not that difficult, pretty easy, and then afterwards you just kind of fill in the wall, I guess if that makes sense, with more glass. When making the walls for the second floor, I had them come out a little bit so that way it felt more like they were actually connected to the floor itself instead of off to the side with a lot of open space. So you can definitely bring some blocks forward, make a wall, make it feel a bit more enclosed so that way they're actually connected to the floor itself. Even though I didn't do it right away, I did eventually do the same thing for the first and third floor where I brought the walls in because it did feel like there was a lot of open space in those areas too. So make sure you do that as well instead of doing what I did, which is putting up a bunch of lights and then having to destroy them later. When decorating the floors, I kind of took out bits of the walls to put in what's meant to look like shops. They don't look super interesting, but they're only like 3 to 5 blocks wide. I think the layout of them is pretty easy to replicate if you want to do that yourself. I also just put up a lot of paintings, and later I went through and added some flowers and some pots, so that way it had a bit more of like a mall feel. You have lots of different things instead of just bland walls. It took me a little while to figure out the actual formation I wanted the rainbow to be in so that it actually looked like a rainbow. Once I figure it out, you can just pause the video and look so that way you can kind of see what I did, because it does take me a little while to figure it out and it's not too hard to replicate once I do. And that's it. Here is the final build. So I didn't talk about the walls, or show the walls, I mean, in the speed build. They are just 15 blocks high. Each color is about 5 blocks each. I didn't include that just because I thought it'd be boring to watch. So, you know, if you're doing this in regular Minecraft and not using the Mario texture pack like I am, I'd recommend using different materials because the walls in actual Rainbow Galleria are a bit more faded. And the Mario texture pack doesn't really have any faded colors. It's all very bright and colorful, as most Mario things are. So yeah, if you're doing this in regular Minecraft, I'd recommend just, you know, cutting back a bit on the color just for the walls. Rainbow Galleria in general is pretty colorful, but the walls are just a little bit faded is all. I just didn't really have that option. So, you know, I went with some pretty colorful stuff. I don't really, it looks pretty bad from the outside. On the inside, I think it looks a bit more natural, but what can you do? The sign also I just didn't show just because I'm very particular about making sure everything's centered. So I just had to destroy a lot of stuff as I was making it. So I didn't want to waste your time with that. Hopefully you can pause the video just to see the dimensions of the sign or the letters and all that. Again, block letters, I think at least are fairly easy in Minecraft, but you know, you can do them however you want. So this is the inside. I did everything kind of try to keep it as accurate as possible. I didn't have like all the time in the world to add like a ton of details because I'm very busy right now. So I had to not rush this video because I did have a lot of time to build this, but I didn't want to get hung up on every little thing. So hopefully this is enough for you to get a general idea. If you would like to add more in your own build, if you decide to make one, obviously there's a lot of options for that. I think I'll probably show the video I use, or the picture, not the video, that I use for reference at some point in this video, whether it be now or later. So yeah, you can look at that yourself. There aren't a lot of options for references or reference pictures for Rainbow Galleria, just because it's not as like widely known of a Mario area. So I kind of had to work with what I was given. Oh, I forgot to fix that. I think I forgot to just fix that one too. That's okay. I'll fix those after the video. Just obviously don't leave a gaping hole in between the lights. You don't have to have the lights go all the way around like I did. I just did that for simplicity. Um, in general, just as long as it's not dark, I think it looks better. Yeah, then we have the fountain here and the bridge as well. We have the glass elevator, but it's a ladder because I don't have very good redstone knowledge, so I can't make an actual elevator. Plus, I'm sure you would need a ton of redstone for that, so I think that would take up a lot of space too. We have some paintings here. We have shops kind of all around the place. I didn't like really go too like I wasn't super detailed with all the shops and all that just because I didn't want them to I didn't want to make them too big and all that. I was kind of more just trying to get a general build done because like I said, I'm not a professional, so I did my best. We have the rainbow here, which actually I might have talked about this a bit in the speed build because I'm going to do that after this. I'm going to do a separate recording for that just because, you know, it's quicker and that way I didn't have to stop and talk about stuff as I was building, so it just makes my life a lot quicker. But yeah, blue, yellow, and red are the only colors of the rainbow in the actual game. So if you're better at making rainbows than I am, which most people probably are because I'm really bad at making round things in Minecraft, you know, you can do a better job with this. That's just what I did. Then we have the glass roof, of course. And that's pretty much it. So I hope this was enjoyable to watch. Oh, this is also this is meant to look more like a Koopa shell. I don't think it does. If anything, it looks more like a mushroom. I believe this is the place when you walk by it, you get the stamps or the money for collecting all the stamps. But yeah, that is pretty much it. That is Rainbow Galleria. I built it as Kamek as well because Kamek is the host in Super Mario Party Jamboree, so I thought that was fitting. And that's everything. So last thing I want to talk about, of course, Switch 2. I won't go too in detail with that just because there's going to be a lot of opportunities for that in the future. So I'm not going to do that now. But obviously I'm aware of it and I have some stuff to talk about related to it but again, that's for the future. I just want to acknowledge the fact that it exists. And lastly, the Minecraft movie. You can skip this if you aren't interested in the Minecraft movie. This is kind of a separate tangent, but I just wanted to quickly say I thought it was all right. It definitely exceeded my expectations, for sure. Because like I said, I had very low expectations after watching the first few trailers, but it kind of is what I thought it should have been, which was just a very goofy movie, like super goofy movie. I won't spoil anything as well if any of you are worried about that. It was just a super goofy movie. It was fun to watch, honestly. There weren't a ton of flaws. I thought they encapsulated all the important stuff very well. And yeah, obviously the only two things I had issues with, the main one was the CGI. I thought was horrible. Well, it was horrible like in the sense it just looked almost too realistic, if that makes sense. They gave certain things too much detail. Like the villagers looked creepy and the zombies I thought looked creepy. But then you had certain things like the chickens that looked exactly like the games. I thought the piglins I thought were all right as well. And the gas. There were quite a few things that didn't look horrible to me. But I thought there's just inconsistencies there. But again, that's not really something they could improve on if they ever did a sequel or anything like that. The other thing I would say is just the story was a little lackluster, but I don't think that's certainly not why I was going to see the movie. So that's just more of a side note. That was just a personal one for me. Yeah, that was pretty much it. Obviously, you know, there's room for improvement in the future. If they did a sequel. Otherwise, if not, I thought it was great. It was exactly what it should have been. There was so many great references and so many funny jokes. It was a good time. So I'd recommend people go see it. Although then again, I was lucky. I went to go see it on opening night. Now it's a thing where people trash the theaters. So be cautious if you want to go see it. I'd say go in like the afternoon if you do want to go see it, or wait a while until it comes out on streaming, because I've seen clips online, and theaters in my local area, like, it's been horrendous. They're, like, everyone's going crazy. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on the Minecraft movie, if any of you were wondering, because, you know, Minecraft does have somewhat of a presence on this channel, so I thought it was worth talking about. But, yeah, I'm not going to go super in-depth. So, yeah. Anyway, that is everything. I'm going to stop talking now. If you have any requests for stuff you'd like to see me build in the future, absolutely please let me know, because I'd love to do it. And yeah, that's everything. So thank you all so much for watching and listening to me talk for way too long. I will see you all in the next video, but until then, keep being awesome Nintendo and Minecraft fans. See ya.